Shane Armstrong, and I serve Kentucky Wesleyan as the Dean of Student Success. Today, I'm here to welcome you to Family Orientation. Normally, Family Orientation is quite a big event in Tapscott Chapel where we all get together and you hear from different campus administrators to learn about important areas of the college. With the COVID-19 crisis, that's not possible this year, and so we're doing the next best thing. We're recording all of us to give you the information that you need. During the next hour or so, you will be welcomed by our president, Tom Mitzel. You'll hear information about health and counseling services. You'll learn about housing, Greek life, and how students can get involved on campus. You'll hear about career development, and I'll be back to talk to you about academic support services, and you'll learn more about the Wesleyan Way. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend our family orientation. We're thrilled that you're part of the Panther family, and we look forward to welcoming your student as well. Thanks.
Hello and welcome to Family Orientation. We are extremely excited to have you all joining the Panther family, and in such a short time. It's so nice to have our campus full of young, vibrant students once again, and bringing the energy level up much higher than you can ever imagine. Today marks the beginning of a wonderful journey in your child's education and growth at Kentucky Wesleyan College. And I have to tell you that an education is much more than a conglomeration of classes. Courses are important, don't get me wrong, and we are going to teach your child very well in his or her major and outside the major. We have some of the best faculty in the entire world, and we have small student-faculty ratios. We get to know all of their names. We don't let them slide through the cracks. Their education in the classroom is going to be top-notch. But out of the classroom interactions are also extremely important. And so I would tell you to urge your child to join in community activities, both academic and social, as well as athletic. Go out, be a part of something. We are a small campus. This is a time to really shine, to really get out and not just be by yourself. Your child is really participating in a 4-year living and learning environment. I like to call it a small city. And within that small city, you don't want to hide in the little niches. You want to come out and interact. Be somebody. Could be the best 4 years. Take full advantage. I also said that college is not a commodity, something that can be bought and sold. People talk about buying and selling education. You cannot do that. Education is a challenging engagement in which both the student and the institution must take an active and risk-taking role. I always tell students there are 4 activities to success in a college education, and I'll share those with you quickly here. One is to seek passionate teachers. Whether that is within the major or outside the major, seek passionate teachers. If your instructor is passionate about his or her area, that passion will rub off on you. And who knows in what direction it may take you. I entered college myself as an English major. I came out as a chemist, mainly because of one teacher. One interaction changed my pathway and brought me to where I am today. Take advantage of the passion that our teachers at Kentucky Wesleyan have for student education. The second is to dive deep into a research project or experiential learning, somewhere where you don't know the answer, something outside of the classroom. Do an internship, work in a laboratory. Take on a project of which you don't know the end. But have fun with it. You don't always want to know the answer in the beginning. You want to have to struggle through those barriers. And when that light comes on, that is the best feeling in the entire world. Third is to be creative and take risks. They talk about the academic bubble. Yes, this is a bit of an academic bubble, and it allows for your child to really be creative, take risks. You have your entire life to toe the line if you want, but don't do that here. Have fun. Take advantage of all there is to know. And this last one may seem a little counterintuitive, but it's extremely important, and that is learn to fail. What happens if your child fails at something at Kentucky Wesleyan College? We have a great support system. We are going to pick your child up. We're going to dust your child off. We are going to find out what happened to cause that failure and turn that into a positive. And then we're going to put your child back on the pathway of education and learning once again. The only people who do not fail are the people who do not try. You have to try. Stretch yourself. Go for it. And then realize this is not one of four, but as parents, instill within your child that learning is really a lifelong importance. This is the first step on their adult education. It will go the entirety of their lives. Our society is changing so quickly. 4 out of 10 majors in existence today were not around in the year 2000. It's a humongous change. The top 10 jobs on today's market did not exist 15 years ago. And today's graduates change jobs on average every 2 to 3 years. So tell your child, find the passion. Find the thing that keeps you up at 2 in the morning because you love it. If you have to be up studying at 2:30 in the morning, what is it you want to be studying? That is where you should be focusing your education. Instill that within your child, as will we. So parents, family members, your child has embarked upon the most important journey to date. And we will educate them in the classroom and as young adults to the best of our abilities to take them to the highest possible heights. I want to thank you for entrusting your child to us. You have made a wonderful choice. And in return, I can also say, we have made a wonderful choice. And once again, we are so happy and excited to have you as part of the Panther family. Thank you and have a great day.
Hello, good morning. My name is Rebecca McQueen-Ruark, and I am the Vice President of Student Affairs. I get the pleasure of talking to parents and families today about the Wesleyan Way and student conduct, and I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about the Panther Promise that we're asking our students to sign in light of the current situation with COVID-19. First of all, you've probably heard about the Wesleyan Way in all of our publications and when you might have visited campus. I just want you to know that we do take the Wesleyan Way very seriously. We do everything with honor. We always support each other. We will compete with integrity, and we will love each other. And what that means, really, in fancier words, is that we have a family atmosphere on campus, and that we think it's important for our students to be accountable for themselves and accountable for each other while also supporting everybody. And I think that really leads to a great atmosphere on our campus, and a community like no other place that I've ever worked or attended school. And so we take that very seriously here, and we're excited that you're going to be a part of the Wesleyan Way and work that into your life as well. Okay, so now's the professional party pooper part of my job. I can talk to you about student conduct. So all students are responsible for the policies listed in the student handbook, and that student handbook can be found on the KWC website under their current students tab. The 2020-2021 version will be emailed out to students, the link to that. I would ask that you have your students review the entire handbook. It's really riveting reading. They're going to be super excited to read the entire handbook. But just to review it, the student handbook really is our contract with the student. It's very clearly lists our expectations and policies, but I'd really encourage them to look at the code of conduct. I know last year's version, it was on page 49. It'll probably be around the same page on this year's. We're finalizing the edits on that. Those student code of conduct policies cover all sorts of behavior and expectations that happen on campus, both inside the classroom and outside for our students. Two I want to highlight for you. One is we do not allow any alcohol on campus. We are a dry campus regardless of your age. So while the law in Kentucky is that you have to be 21 to possess alcohol, that doesn't matter to us here. So no alcohol is permitted in our residence halls or on campus for football tailgates or those kind of things. There are a few select events that the president holds for alumni and donors, but for all points to consider, there's no alcohol allowed on campus. So we do have some students who might have transferred in from another campus or things, but can't have it in our residence halls. The second thing is that weapons are not allowed on campus. It seems pretty common sense, but we do have some questions sometimes about those who carry a concealed carry license in the state of Kentucky. And while we support your Second Amendment rights and those kind of things, we are private property, so even if you have a concealed carry permit, you still cannot have a weapon on campus of any sort. So just encourage your students to leave those at home, please. So what happens if your student is documented for violating some sort of policy here on campus? What happens is when that faculty staff member or maybe a resident assistant, security guard, when they document that student, the incident report will come to me. At that point, I will contact your student. They will be brought in to meet with me. We'll discuss the circumstances around the incident. They will have the opportunity to, one, either accept responsibility for whatever those charges are, or if they deny responsibility for that, maybe they feel that the information that I have is incorrect, they can request what's called a student conduct hearing. And so those student conduct hearings involve both faculty and staff members who review the circumstances of the case. The student is allowed to come in and bring witnesses and those things on their behalf, and then a decision is made. What's really important to know about our entire student conduct process is that we aren't here to catch students or to get students in trouble. We think it's important that it's an educational process for them. Part of our whole point at Wesleyan is to help prepare your student for life after graduation. And part of that is being a responsible citizen. And there's expectations, policies, and laws out in the community. We want them to learn that that's just a part of who they need to be in today's world. And so you'll see that if your student is held responsible for something, we don't call it guilty, they're held responsible or not responsible. The kind of sanctions and consequences that they will have will, for the most part, be very educational. So they might have to write a paper, do some service. Very rarely there are some fines involved because we have found that that is a deterrent for some students. Or there might be some restitution if they've damaged something or stolen something, they might have to repay that. There's some online modules they would have to complete for an alcohol violation, but it really is an educational process and we want to help your students learn. There are a few things that will get them automatically suspended or removed from the college permanently, and so that would be any sort of assault of another person, selling drugs, so anything that directly harms another person. We cannot tell you about the student conduct process. So if you call and ask questions about what happened to your student, I'm going to need your student present in the room with me, giving me permission to talk to you about that. So please don't expect that. Now there are a couple of things you'll notice in the student conduct process that one of the sanctions is parental notification. Typically those are those more serious offenses because we do want to partner with you on that. But please understand with FERPA and everything else that there might be some things that we cannot discuss with you. And if your student is a student athlete, we want you to know that their coaches will be made aware of policy violations on campus. We have found for student athletes sometimes, first of all, the coach wants to know, of course, what their team is, and the athletic department has policies related to student conduct as well. But the coaches want to know, and sometimes that's more of a deterrent for students, honestly, for their coaches to know, and they don't want to use that athletic time. So we do involve coaches in our student conduct process. Our student conduct process is completely separate from any sort of legal process out in the community. So I've had questions from parents about that before, but if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And the last thing I want to discuss really shortly with you is the COVID-19 stuff and the Panther Promise, which we've asked your student to sign. They received this via email as an attachment, and there's also a link that we're asking all students to go and fill out the Panther Promise. If a student does not complete and sign the Panther Promise, they will not be permitted to be on campus for classes or in the residence halls. So please make sure your student reviews this. We thought it was important for our students to know what our expectations are going to be of them before they arrive on campus. We want students here. We're really excited about this semester. We have missed having students on campus since March. But in order for this semester and this year to be successful, we all have to be accountable and responsible to each other. And so that's what the Panther Promise is really about. So it asks them to make 3 general promises. 1, that they're going to do what it takes to protect themselves, that they're going to do what it takes to protect others, and that they're going to do what it takes to protect the community. So some of those things I want you to make sure you hone in on. That protect themselves, we're going to ask that students monitor themselves daily for any sort of symptoms of COVID-19. Of course, if there's a fever, headache, any sort of stomach issues that I will not discuss on camera. They're also going to be asked to fill out this daily health check every morning via the website. There'll be some QR codes around campus. And so they're going to have to fill that out every morning, indicating if they've had symptoms or not. They'll get a green if they're able to come to campus or go to class. They're going to have to flash that to their professors before they enter a classroom. So that's going to be very important that our students are honest on those and do complete those every day. We want them to wash their hands. And then we're also asking students not to attend or host any sort of gatherings off campus that have, a large amount of people and don't allow for social distancing. The last thing we want to hear is about parties and things off campus because those students, for like a temporary good time, are actually putting the entire campus community in danger, and so we don't want that to happen. The second thing is that, of course, we're asking our students to protect others. One of the biggest, most noticeable things is that we're going to be asking students to wear masks and face coverings while they're on campus. Every student is going to be receiving 2 of these in a little health and safety pack when they arrive on campus. We ask that students also bring and purchase additional masks because we want you to wear a different mask every day and to make sure you're washing those, but you will receive 2. And so anytime that you are indoors on campus, except in your residence hall room, or if you are outside and social distancing is not able to happen, we do expect you to be wearing a face covering. And then the second thing to protect others that we've had a lot of questions about is that we are not going to allow guests on campus. And so for our residential students specifically, non-residential students will not be allowed in the residence halls this year, except during that 2-hour move-in slot that you should be, your student should have received via email. And that's just because we have made our clear expectations for our students, and we don't want outside people from the outside community coming in the residence halls and putting our students at risk. The third thing is to protect the community. We do have some isolation rooms on campus if any of our residential students were to test positive or to have come in contact with somebody who tested positive, and the health department has asked to quarantine or isolate them. We do have some spaces on campus. So one of the things we're going to ask students to protect the community is that if they are asked to isolate or quarantine, that they follow our directions, that they go to those spaces, that they have the to-go bag or the grab-and-go bag, I forget what it's called, but your students, residential students, received a list of a bag that we would just like for them to keep in their room that has some extra clothing and some other things, toiletries and things, so that if they do have to go into isolation, they can get that bag and go, no questions asked. So it's important that students follow those requests that we have both from us and the health department. We also ask that students are limiting their travel outside of the Owensboro area. We don't want students going out of state, going home every weekend, those kind of things, because that's just opening up the campus to more potential of exposure. So we do ask that students stay here on campus in the Owensboro area and in this community to keep each other safe. And then the last thing that's probably going to be the hardest for students, but something that's really important, is to hold each other accountable. If a student hears somebody else talking about a party, or they see somebody on campus not wearing a mask when they're supposed to, we really want them to feel comfortable asking that student to put on a mask, or helping us in our office to become aware of some of those violations so that we can make sure that our community stays safe. Another thing I forgot to mention is that all students will be receiving one of these 1.8 fluid ounce Wesleyan hand sanitizers. It's got a nice carabiner so they can put it on a keychain or a backpack, so they always have hand sanitizer. We have some other things that are happening on campus. You can see our entire plan on our COVID-19 website. We have upped our disinfecting and sanitation on campus. We've hired some additional maintenance and housekeeping staff to help us keep up with that. There's going to be tons of signage, the social distancing things on the floor. We have an entire plan. You can read that entire document, but please reach out to us if you have any questions. I love parents and families of our Wesleyan students. I think we're definitely partners in your students' education, and we want to help you, and we are here for you. So please reach out if you have any questions. My email address is rmcqueen@kwc.edu. Thank you. We're excited to have your student here.
Hello, parents. My name is Michael McComas. I'm the Director of Student Involvement at Kentucky Wesleyan College. I'm a part of the Student Services team located here in the Powell Student Life Office of Winchester Campus Community Center. My team gets to make your students' experience here at Kentucky Wesleyan College exceptional outside of the classroom. Today I want to talk to you about student engagement, leadership, and fraternity and sorority life here on campus. As a part of my responsibilities, I oversee all of our registered student organizations and the fraternity and sorority community. Both our registered student organizations and fraternity and sorority life provide students with lots of ways to engage with others in the Owensboro community outside of the classroom. Currently, we have over 30 active student organizations, such as the Archery Club, Harry Potter Club, American Medical Student Association is one of the newest ones that we've had recently, Student Government Association, Student Activities Programming Board, many more. There's all kinds of organizations. If a student finds that there's not an organization here, the unique opportunity that we have here at Wesleyan is that they can start their own organization with a group of other students. So you may wonder why someone should get involved. I like to refer to John Gardner's book, Your College Experience, Strategies for Success, where he identifies 9 different benefits of the campus and community involvement. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those. One, your students will be able to meet people by getting involved outside of the classroom. They'll meet others with interesting perspectives, diverse backgrounds. They'll maybe find someone who may share a common interest and become their friend. So it's really important that they get involved in our organizations or just going to the different events that we plan outside of class. They'll also be able to get the most out of their college experience. It'll help them learn time management and balancing curricular and co-curricular experiences. They'll become more aware of and participating in the college community and its unique experiences. They have the opportunity to get connected with groups that work with the community a lot. So it's definitely a plus for them to get involved. By getting involved, they'll also be able to feel a little bit home faster at Wesleyan. We want Kentucky Wesleyan to be their home away from home, and so by getting involved in an organization or going to activities, they'll be able to feel needed and valued and get that home experience. They'll be able to invest in themselves and the campus and community experiences that are offered. The last one I want to touch on, it'll also help them manage stress, getting involved in organizations or activities. It'll help create different outlets to channel that stress. I know we have some athletes, and so athletics really helps them get their stress out. And so students, athletes and non-athletes, by joining organizations, they have other avenues to kind of relieve that stress as well. It'll also help them develop healthy lifestyles in managing organizations and academics. When active students look back on their college experience, they have fond memories of their activities inside and outside the classroom. They attest to learning and the satisfaction experienced through involvement. By combining these skills you develop through campus and community involvement with the knowledge they learn in the classroom, they become much better prepared for their future. It is statistically proven that students that are involved typically have better grades than those uninvolved. The organizations and athletic teams your students become a part of act as a support network, and they can help them in classes that other members or teammates might have taken in the past. They can get help. Someone could tutor them within that class, or they could let them know kind of what to expect with the professor. So it's really good for them to get involved and meet new people, because that'll help them learn about their classes and their instructors as well on campus. During my time as an undergrad, I didn't get involved in organizations or go to many activities around campus right away. For my first semester, I just kind of concentrated on class. Looking back, I wish I would have gotten involved right away. There's so much value and individual growth you can get from getting involved. Once I started to attend campus activities and join student organizations, I kind of felt that sense of relief because I wasn't always just concentrating on class. I had ways to relieve my stress and meet new people and get out there and get involved. I was able to be a part of those events or activities where I could leave my studies behind in my room and have some fun. So please encourage your students to get involved. And when they do get involved, it's okay for them to start slow. Tell them that they don't have to get involved with every single organization that they're interested in. They can just pick one or two, and that's totally fine. That's what I recommend, just kind of starting with one or two organizations and see how you're able to manage class time, the organization time. If they're an athlete, also practice and games time. So starting slow is really good. We always want them to focus on their academics first, and then allow them to have that opportunity to decompress from studying for that 8 a.m. bio class or 2 o'clock lab and participate in student organizations and campus events. During Welcome Week, your student will have the opportunity to see and meet all of our student organizations during our activities fair. A great thing about Kentucky Wesleyan, which I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, is that if they don't find an organization that they maybe were involved in high school, but they think it might be a good idea for that organization to exist at Wesleyan, they have the opportunity to start that organization and be a leader on campus. With starting a new organization, they just have to find 7 other students that are interested in joining that organization, club, however they want to designate the name of it. And they also have to find a full-time faculty or staff member to serve as their organization's advisor. Once they have that done, then they go through a process with the Student Government Association, getting approval, and then through me to get approval to be on our registered student organizations list and create their online portal page, because we have what's called KW Connect, where they can see all of our student organizations that are happening, all of the events that have been registered. So it's a really cool website that we have specifically for student organizations on campus. So a way to help me help you and help your student is if they call you and they say, "Mom, Dad, I don't know what to do on campus. I'm bored. I'm just going to class. There's nothing for me to do." You can say, "Well, have you gone to the latest Student Activities Programming Board event?" Or you could say, "Well, have you thought about starting an organization or something that you were involved in high school?" Because there's that opportunity as well. If they say, "Oh, no, I don't even know what the programming board is," or "I don't even know how to do that, start an organization," please encourage them to come to my office and see me, and I'll help them get involved, find different activities that are coming up. KW Connect is nice that they can see upcoming events from all of our student organizations, not just maybe ones that they're interested in, but all of the organizations, so they can see different things that are happening across campus. We have a great fraternity and sorority community here at KWC. We have 2 sororities and 3 fraternities on campus. Our sororities are Alpha Omicron Pi and Kappa Delta, and our fraternities are Sigma Alpha Mu, Sigma Nu, and Sigma Phi Epsilon. While each organization is unique in its own way, they all share common goals for their organization and the community. Fraternity and sorority life offers opportunities for scholastic achievement, community service, philanthropy, leadership, campus involvement, personal growth, social interaction, and the development of lifelong friendships. If they're interested in joining a fraternity or sorority, we do have formal recruitment each fall. It's actually started already with the opportunities with everything that's going on in the country. We've started a virtual recruitment that started July 1st. So if they're interested in joining a fraternity or sorority, please have them reach out to me, and I will get them connected with organizations that they can talk to about joining. The sky's really the limit to what they can do outside of the classroom here at Wesleyan, so please encourage them to join student organizations, go to different activities that are happening across campus. We have monthly bingo and monthly trivia nights. It'll be really fun. Students can win prizes. Bingo, we have a lot of like groceries or personal items that they don't necessarily want to buy themselves, so they can get that. We also have food at those events too. That the bingo prizes, some of them are food, so they encourage them. They can get some food if they don't want to go out to the store and buy it themselves. So please encourage them to get involved, join an organization or attend an event of an organization, because it really will help them in their time here at Kentucky Wesleyan. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to working with your students when they get here in August. Thank you.
Welcome, KW parents. I'm so excited to talk to you today about housing and residential life. I am Lori Etheridge, the Assistant Dean of Students and Director of Residence Life here at Kentucky Wesleyan College. We are so excited for those students who will be living with us on campus this fall. We have a wonderful staff comprised of part-time professional resident directors and part-time peer resident assistants, and their job is to help our students, our residential students, navigate that time that they're in the halls and in the community. They're here to answer any questions that they have and to help get them connected on campus, and really just serve as an all-around resource for them. We know that lots of folks have questions about roommates and what happens if my student doesn't like their roommate or wants to switch and live with a friend. Our staff has been trained on having difficult conversations with students and really being able to help them describe the kind of living experience that will help them be successful while they're here at Kentucky Wesleyan and while they're living with us. We have roommate agreements, and at the end of the day, if it is just not working out between two people, I invite them to come speak with me, and we are happy to look and see what kind of accommodations and other options are available to them. Our residence halls have different themes, and we have some learning communities on campus. So if your student is involved in one of the learning communities, they're going to be connected with faculty and staff who are going to have some very intentional opportunities for them to have some meaningful engagement outside of the classroom and within the Kentucky Wesleyan community. All of our residential students have meal plans, and the meal plan is included in the cost of the residence hall room, so you're not going to see an additional charge with that. And our students have the first week of class to be able to adjust and change that meal plan. We go ahead and we preload them with the 12 meals per week and the $350 flex dollars for the semester, because first, that's the meal plan that they are most comfortable with and that the students tend to like and gravitate toward the most. However, we really want students to get here and to be able to get a glimpse of their schedule. And within that first week of class, I send out an email with a quick Google form that asks students, our residential students, if they would like to change or adjust their meal plan, and they just have to go on there and select the new meal plan. It's very simple, very easy for them. We're happy to answer any questions that they have. For our commuter students, we have some wonderful commuter meal plan options for them as well. And in that email that I send out, I list what those options are, and if they're interested in signing up or opting into one of those meal plans, they just need to come see myself or the campus cashier, and we're happy to get them situated and squared away. We are so excited to have all of our students, both residential and commuter, on campus with us this fall. We're excited to have the energy and the liveliness back to our campus with them here, and we look forward to seeing them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Terry Petzold. I'm the Director of Counseling at Kentucky Wesleyan College. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and credentialed as a temporary certified drug and alcohol counselor. My office is located in the Barnard Administration Building, 2 doors down from Nurse Tanya on the 2nd floor. It's very convenient for students, and I'm located in room 209B. Now, you may wonder why it's necessary to have a clinical therapist on campus. The simple answer is stress happens. Think about your own experiences with stress. Stress affects how you think and feel, the way you make decisions, and your relationships with other people, friends, family, coworkers. And I'm sure at some point in your life, stress has kept you up at night. Now think back to when you were 18 years old. What challenges have you had? What stressors did you experience? Now in hindsight, you may say that they're not very significant. But at the time, they were. Your son and daughter are in that same spot right now. Only they have experienced an extraordinary end to their senior year. The majority of your sons and daughters have not experienced a senior prom, a formal in-person graduation, or have said goodbye to faculty, students, and other friends at school. So some are experiencing unresolved grief. Perhaps your student anticipated working during the summer months to earn some cash to bring to campus, but their hours were cut, or their places of business never reopened. So now they're having some financial worries. Let's add to that some really didn't get a break. No summer vacation. no week of rest and relaxation where they could mentally and physically unplug, become detached to refresh themselves. Add to that the excitement of coming to campus, moving into a dorm, and becoming finally independent from their parents and guardians. Many of these students are relishing the day that they're moving in. However, you know that independence that they're craving carries with it responsibility. And some students aren't aware of this. Some aren't ready for it. And this adds to their stress. Add to that homesickness, and yes, your son or daughter will become homesick. Well, I could go on and on. So for these reasons and many others, we have a clinical therapist on campus to assist students with maneuvering through all the various transitions they'll be experiencing so it does not affect their academic or athletic performance. Counseling services is available to all students who experience any type of distress that is keeping them from becoming successful in their schoolwork, in their sport, or in their relationships with others. Stress, worry, the inability to balance competing time demands, conflicts in relationships can lead to depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and substance use very, very quickly. Sometimes others will notice before the student does. There'll be a change in behavior. So if your son or daughter mentions that they're having symptoms of distress that are interfering with daily life, or if you become aware that they're having trouble eating or sleeping, please have them come to see me or give me a call. Mental health services, I meet with students individually. If they're having difficulty in relationships, I meet with couples and groups as well. Services that are provided to students are protected by HIPAA, so services are strictly confidential. A release of confidential information will need to be signed by the student in order for me to share information with you, their parent or guardian. Now, with that being said, I believe that a student's family is their greatest support system. So more times than not, I'll advise the students to talk to the parents about what they're going through. If your student is currently seeing a therapist or other mental health professional, I do offer continuation of care services. Some students see their own therapist, then experience a crisis on campus, but they're unable to get a hold of their therapist. I also offer support to these students as well. Fees for services are part of their health and wellness fees. So students are already paying for these services. There's no additional fee that's going to be charged to them, and I do not bill insurance at all. So their insurance or your insurance will not be billed. So please encourage your student to take advantage of these services. Once again, the Counseling Services Office is located in the second floor of the administration building in room 209B. Most of the students' classes will take place in that building, so it's really convenient for the student to stop in there. Appointments take about an hour. The number of sessions, that depends on the student, and I'll be working that out with the student themselves. Sometimes students see me one time, while others set up multiple appointments. I work with each student, and I really try to accommodate their schedule so they don't miss class or they don't miss practice. Day, evening, and weekend appointments are available. Typically I'm there during the daytime, so the evening and weekend appointments will be set up on a case-by-case basis. My phone number, for those of you taking notes, is 270-852-3183. This year I'm having a graduate student intern from Western Kentucky University working with me. She'll be working one-on-one with students, and she'll be developing groups for students based on students' needs and to continue decreasing the stigma of mental health on campus. We also have a counseling services challenge that we put out to students each year. This empowers them to become more aware of the benefits of mental health wellness and to take charge of their own mental health. We call our challenge You Be the Difference. You be, and then the difference. There are 5 tasks to this challenge, and we take Monday through Friday as our precursor to it. So Monday we call Motivation Monday. And on Monday we challenge the students to incorporate 30 minutes of exercise into their day. This will be very easy for those of who are student athletes. Tuesday we call Let's Talk Tuesday. And we motivate students to talk rather than text their friends and family. Students are so geared into the texting that we want them to experience more dialogue with individuals. Wednesday, we entitled Watchful Words Wednesday, which helps students become more aware of the words they speak, and will challenge them to stop and think about those words before they speak them, and to speak kind and positive words to others. Thursday, we call Thoughtful Thursday. This will allow students to become more mindful of what they are thinking. Scientists tell us that 85% of our thoughts are negative. And so this allows students to realize that they do have these negative thoughts and maybe to turn them into more positive thinking. Friday we call Fresh Friday. And Fresh Friday is where we challenge students to incorporate fresh fruits and vegetables into each day. So that's our counseling challenge that we will be giving students shortly after they come on campus. Other resources for students and parents include the Counseling Services web pages on our KWC website. The way you get to it is you go to the KWC website, and in the upper right-hand corner you're going to see a search key. Click on the search key, and then that will give a search box. When you get to the search box, type in counseling and press enter. That will immediately bring up the counseling link to the Counseling Services webpage, and you click on that link and you have more information there. On the web pages has a lot of helpful mental health information. It also includes what's called U Lifeline, and U Lifeline is a mental health information website that provides information on various mental health issues. So if a student thinks they have depression, they can click on the link and provide and it'll provide them with the symptoms that they might be experiencing, as well as information on getting help. It will also have a self-assessment tool on it that students can use. Statistically speaking, 40% of college students who need mental health services don't seek out help. So I realize that students will not willingly seek out services, or some students will not seek out services. And this link is a help to them. So it's available to them, it's available to them online. U Lifeline is also available to you parents, so check it out and see what you think. Counseling Services has also joined with Health Services in providing a Health and Wellness Week that's going to be coming up in September. Another program we offer is Mental Health First Aid, which is a national program that teaches skills on how to respond to people in distress. This program has been taught nationally to police, firefighters, first responders, and educators. Currently, 102 administrators, coaches, and student leaders are mental health first aid trained. QPR training is another training we offer. It's called Question, Persuade, and Refer. And this program is designed to reduce suicidal behavior through suicide prevention training. Over 130 student leaders, faculty, and staff have already been trained on campus in QPR. We also offer pop-up workshops that take place. They take place periodically. We cover various topics such as stress, anxiety, grief and loss, relationships, substance use awareness, and test anxiety. So these are just a few topics that are offered or have been offered in the past, and we'll be continuing to offer these workshops. So just a reminder before your son or daughter comes to campus, if they are currently under a physician's care and are on prescription medication, please double check that first of all, the prescription is refilled, that they have enough when they come on campus for at least the next month. Secondly, that their prescription is refillable through the end of November, which is when they're going to be transitioning home. And then third, that their health forms are completed for Nurse Tanya. If your student is a student athlete, they may have filled out these forms for athletics, but athletics is different than what Nurse Tanya needs, so please be sure that those forms are filled out, and also that your student has a copy of their insurance card. So now would be a time that I would ask for questions. However, since we're doing this digitally, that's kind of hard to do. So if you do have any questions, once again, my phone number is 270-852-3183. That's the best way to be HIPAA compliant. Get in touch with me. You can email me at terri.petzl@kwc.edu. I'm sorry. terri.petzl@kwc.edu. However, realize that email is not HIPAA compliant. So that might not be the best thing. What you might want to do is, since your student will be coming on campus, and I kind of anticipate you'll be coming with them, you can drop me an email and let me know when you'll be here, and we can set up a time that if you do have any questions, we can meet one-on-one to answer those questions. So thank you for the opportunity to work with your student. Once again, if you think your son or daughter would benefit from these services, please have them contact the Counseling Services Office. You can also, throughout the semester, call me with your concerns as well. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Hello, parents. I'm Deb Jones. I am the Director of Career Development here at Kentucky Wesleyan, and I want to welcome all of you, first of all. If you are like the parents that I've worked with over, I won't tell you how many years, it's been quite a few, you are probably really concerned not only about your students' success while they're in college, but also about what they're going to do after college. That is my entire emphasis. How can I help your students when they graduate, after they graduate, before they graduate? So I really, really recommend that students start working with me from day one. If they wait until they're seniors, which they're going to want to do, so watch that. They wait until they're seniors, they're not going to have some of the opportunities that they're going to have if they start early. A lot of times getting career information, getting relevant skills, it's a process. It's a step-by-step. So we really recommend that they utilize me for all 4 years. And then when they graduate, I'm still available to them after that. Now, I have to tell you that they won't really want to do that, because the only thing scarier for your student than leaving and going to college is leaving college, because college at least is the academic environment that they're already used to being in. But once they've graduated, that's a whole new world for them, and it scares them a little bit. So they're going to want to put that off. So if you can encourage them to do a few steps at a time, to make progress each year, to think about each year what they're going to do that year to build skills and to prepare for after college. Now, they're going to tend to think that that just means getting an internship. Well, that's not true. There are skills that employers seek that they can develop in all kinds of different ways while they're in college. For an example, leadership skills, communication skills, global fluency skills, technical skills. These are all things that all employers seek from students, regardless of major. And I am here to help them with that from day one. That said, we have developed a 4-year program for your students. It's called the Wesleyan Edge. We launched the Wesleyan Edge last year and had over 200 students sign up. I hope that your student will take advantage of the program. Most of the requirements the first year for the program can be obtained through the KW 101 class that they're all required to take. So a lot of their classes, or a lot of their activities in that class will count toward the Wesleyan Edge. There's a few additional requirements, and I will be providing them with that information. It's things like doing volunteer work or getting involved or going to see a speaker or anything that's similar to that. So I would be happy to help your students with that. The brochure looks like this. If you haven't gotten one, the admissions office has them. It is an interesting program for me because I've worked at multiple institutions. This is the first school that has put its money where its mouth is. What that means is If your student completes all the requirements for the Wesleyan Edge as a first-year student, they will earn a $500 grant toward tuition sophomore year. If they complete sophomore year requirements, they will earn, I think it's a $1,000 grant toward tuition junior year. If they complete junior year requirements, they get their graduation fee waived. And if they complete senior year requirements, then they will graduate with an honor cord and be able to put Wesleyan Edge graduate on their resume. So there's a lot of good reasons to do this, not very many reasons not to, but they do have to take the initiative to do that. They will be provided with information on how to sign up, but if you want to look at this in the meantime, there is a Kentucky Wesleyan College website for the Wesleyan Edge. If you just Google the Wesleyan Edge, you will find it. You will not only find this brochure and what's in it, but you will also see a sign-up form. Please do not sign up for your student, but please encourage them to go ahead and sign up. I'm already starting to get sign-ups for the program, and I would love to have your students sign up for it as well. So, Wesleyan Edge aside, what does career development do? Well, career development is me. So what I do is I am a global career development facilitator, and that's a certification, a nationwide certification. Actually, it might be worldwide now, but it's a nationwide certification, and I have been a career counselor for about 30 years. Please don't do the math. Don't want you to think about that. But what I do is I start working with students from their very first concern of what should I major in. I spend a lot of time talking about how a major does or does not relate to careers. So, for example, a lot of students think they have to be X career to go into X, or X major to go into X career, but they really don't necessarily have to. They can go into almost any career field from almost any major. That said, if you're going to be an accountant, you have to take accounting classes. If you want to be a scientist, you have to take science classes. But there's a lot of flexibility within that. I would be happy to help with them with what I want to major in. I work with what career can I go into. I help them find information on those careers. I help them find networking contacts, and I work with the alumni office to help them find mentors. I help them find part-time jobs, summer jobs, internships, and full-time jobs. I help them write their resume. I do practice interviews with them, and we provide some programs that might be helpful for them. We usually do 2 career fairs a year. We're hoping that one in the spring will go. We probably won't do the one in the fall. We provide an etiquette dinner, and that's an interesting program in that we have a certified etiquette trainer who comes in and talks to them about how to behave professionally over a meal. There is not a career field out there that they don't have to do that from time to time. So it's a very valuable skill. This year, my plan is to have that program, but it will be limited in the amount of seating we can do in the room. So I want to also offer it as a Zoom program. And if they are interested, they can do it from home and invite you to attend through Zoom. So that's one thing that's going to be coming up later in the semester. Usually we do a speed mock interviewing event, which is fabulous. We have a lot of employers and alumni and community members come in, usually about 30, and then we get 30 students signed up, and then they rotate 4 minutes with each of about 15 employers, and they ask them a question and give them feedback on their answers. This year we're probably going to go to a mock interview program that is through Zoom. And I will be doing those mock interviews. At this point, many employers are telling me that they are going to do their initial interviews by Zoom. So this seems an appropriate step for us to follow. Another thing that's in the process of happening, not quite ready yet, so I haven't really announced it, we are going to become a handshake school this fall. And if you're an employer, you might know about Handshake. If you don't, Handshake is a career management tool made specifically for colleges and college students. Like Indeed and Monster are out there for everybody, Handshake is only for college students, recent graduates. So basically, they will be able to make appointments with me through it. We will try to have some virtual events through it. We will be posting jobs through Handshake. They can put their resumes on Handshake. So watch for an announcement about Handshake. I've already gone in and added quite a few employers in there. They can research employers through that platform. So I think Handshake's going to be a really good addition, particularly in this time when so much is remote. So watch for that announcement. So I hope that you and your students will take advantage of my services. I want to get to know your students. The better I know them, the better I can help them. Please, like I said, send them to me early. If they can, they should write a resume no later than the beginning of sophomore year. If they want to write one in freshman year, I can help them with that as well. Watch for announcements of programs. Have them watch Handshake once we've announced it for jobs coming open. And also you can send them to me if they have any questions. If you have any questions, my email address is Deborah, deborah.jones@kwc.edu. That's Deborah, deborah.jones@kwc.edu. Thank you, and I look forward to working with your students.
Hi, Shane Armstrong here again to talk to you about academic support services at Kentucky Wesleyan. One of my responsibilities at the college is to oversee the Student Success Center, and that's where we provide academic support to our students. We provide this in a variety of ways, and some will be different this fall because of the COVID-19 situation, but I want to reassure you that we have plans in place and we will be able to fully support your students in their academic endeavors. So first, let me start with our most popular service, which is peer tutoring. We hire students who are strong in a subject, often majoring in that subject, and we pay them to be peer tutors. Now, in the past, we've tutored both online and in person, and this fall we'll be tutoring exclusively online. Every morning through social media and through an email, we will let students know when we have tutoring available that day, who's providing that tutoring, and how to contact that person. It's that simple. Your student will receive an email or look on their social media account. They'll see that a certain student is tutoring at a certain time in a subject that they feel like they need help in, and they'll be able to contact that person. And we'll be doing that tutoring using the Teams platform in Microsoft, and we're also available to do phone calls, and I think for some students there'll be some texting tutoring involved too. But please know that we've hired plenty of tutors to support students this fall. Next up are supplemental instructors, and supplemental instructors are what we usually provide in a class that has a higher than usual rate of students earning a C or lower. Freshman students is who I'm talking about. This year, because we are teaching in a hybrid format, we will have more supplemental instructors than we normally do. So we have hired supplemental instructors in most all topics, and if there is a faculty member who is teaching 100% remotely, and we have a few of those, the supplemental instructor will be the person who meets with the class, half of the class one day, half another day, to be an in-person contact with them. Supplemental instructors are majoring in their subject. They're juniors or seniors. They've done extremely well. They have a close working relationship with the faculty member, and they're very familiar with the freshman level material. And they really will help the instructor as they teach remotely or in a hybrid format. If your student has a supplemental instructor, SI, in their class, they will be notified that at the very beginning of class, and that person will provide their email, their phone number, and we'll let them know when they'll be in class and when they may do outside of class study sessions. So know that to support this health crisis, we have significantly increased the number of supplemental instructors that we will have this year. We also have support from peer writing fellows, and these are students who have had extensive training in the different types of academic writing. So what used to happen is that we would have a student and they would be writing a paper in the social sciences, and they would be using APA, American Psychological Association's format for citation. And so they'd be working on that paper and they would need some help with how to set it up, the formatting, citing things. And so they would come to tutoring when there was someone who was tutoring in psychology. Well, that person tutoring in psychology was here to tutor in psychology content. So that really wasn't who they needed. And so Professor Molly Gross, who's a faculty member who works in the center, recognized this, and she hired and trained peer writing fellows who have specific expertise in the different types of formatting and citation. So we have those available in APA or in MLA. And so students will see that that's available should they work on papers, and that's what they need help in as opposed to content. Also want to tell you that the Student Success Center will be open this fall. Now, in the past, the Student Success Center has, as I refer to it, been hopping most of the time. It's very normal that we will have 15, 20 students in here studying together, and that's not going to be possible this fall. So we've removed a lot of our furniture, and we're going to set up 4 different study stations where students can study safely. Those will be socially distanced from the other spaces. There will be a table and a chair and cleaning materials. We ask students to sanitize their area when they arrive and when they leave, and to wear a mask when they're in the center. From outside in the hallway, students will be able to look inside the center and see if one of the 4 spaces is available. If it is, they can come on in and study there. If spaces are not available, then they shouldn't come in. They should find somewhere else to study. And in the past, we have had a large amount of school supplies available to students in the center, whether that be highlighters or note cards or Post-its. This year, we will have those out in the hallway. Students can help themselves as they need, and those materials will be available to them. Lastly, let me say that staff in the Student Success Center will be available to students. A lot of that will be remotely, but students will be able to contact us. We were, in a way, a little lucky. We had piloted using Zoom last fall. Professor Gross had worked with students using Zoom, and so we had some experience doing that when the situation occurred in March and we needed to go remote. So Professor Gross will be training our peer tutors, our supplemental instructors, and our peer writing fellows. They will know how to use Teams. Again, that's the format we're going to use on Microsoft, and they will be available to help. Tutoring, supplemental instruction, peer writing fellows, it's all free. We hope your students will take advantage of it. We find semester after semester that students who take advantages of our services and our support, they earn better grades, and they persist longer, and they graduate at a greater rate. The last thing I want to mention is that we are sort of known for our workshops in the Student Success Center. And so all freshmen take the Lassie. Your student will have taken that before they've arrived on campus as part of their pre-orientation. And the Lassie is the Learning and Study Strategies Inventory. And it looks at 10 different scales that students need to be proficient in to be as successful as they can be in college. It looks at things like their motivation, their concentration, their ability to pay attention, their test anxiety. It looks at their ability to read and understand the main point. And so students get a score for each of these 10 areas based on the answers they provide to the questions. Again, this is an online tool. And then Professor Gross does workshops every week to cover each of these areas. So if your student took the Lassie and they found that, yes, this confirms what I thought, I kind of struggle with paying attention, Professor Gross normally would have a workshop in the center. This fall, she will tape all of those workshops, and students will have access to those, and so they can look at them weekly. She'll release them, and students can look at them at their leisure, and often through their KW 101 freshman seminar class, the faculty member will have those Lassie scores, and they may say, hey Shane, I looked at your Lassie scores, and I think maybe you would benefit from going to this workshop about time management. Okay. And so those will be available to students. We also have a brand new person in the center this year, and that is Dr. Christina Starkey. She is a math specialist, and she is going to be providing the same type of support for math that Professor Gross provides for English. And so know that in addition to peer tutors and supplemental instructors, that we have faculty in the center who are able to work with students one-on-one or in groups virtually to help them be successful. If your student needs any academic support and they're struggling and they just don't even know why, Student Success Center is the place that they need to start. Feel free to have them reach out to me, Shane Armstrong, or Professor Gross or Dr. Starkey, and we are glad to help them in their academic pursuits. Thanks.